Cardi, baby. Listen, if you thought the summer was over for Cardi B, you have been reading the wrong newspaper, watching the wrong live stream, and following the wrong pages. Because Cardi B just woke up from a Benadryl coma, sat down in front of a phone camera with mosquito bites still stinging her legs, and casually detonated the biggest one-woman press conference the internet has seen all year. And when I tell you the streets are still shaking from it, take it to the bank, because Cardi B did not come to gossip. Cardi B came to serve receipts, plural, in stacks, with the kind of calm that only shows up in a woman who knows exactly how much money is sitting in her account. Now, before we get into the meat of what Cardi B actually said, and trust me, there is a full buffet, let's rewind for anybody who missed the setup. Cardi B, a woman who has spent the last year on a tour that broke every regional record they threw at her, went silent for about a month. No videos, no lives, no cryptic tweets, just vacations, family, and, as she herself put it, drinking, chilling with friends, and having a ball. And people close to the situation are already leaking that during that quiet stretch, Cardi B was not resting. Cardi B was cooking. And the moment she came back online, she made it very clear that the vacation was almost over, and the September pack, her word, not mine, is already fully loaded and pointed at the necks of everybody who spent the last 4 weeks celebrating what they thought was her downfall. That is the moment we are in right now. And it is chaotic. It is beautiful. And it is exactly the kind of live camera exposé that Cardi B was born to deliver. Real quick though, let me set the room. Cardi B logged on and admitted, out loud, that she had gone to sleep at 4 in the morning after being eaten alive by 13 mosquitoes, that she chased 6 drinks with 2 Benadryls, and that she then let God, in her words, take the wheel for a full night and day. She woke up 40 minutes before hitting the live button. She looked into the camera, and she said the sentence that snapped the entire timeline in half. She said, and I quote her energy here, that she is tired of people telling her fanbase not to defend her, because the moment Cardi B so much as sneezes on somebody, the entire internet fabricates a courtroom drama around her. And then, and this is the line that had grown men choking on their coffee at 7 in the morning. Cardi B said she should just go on a date with her own cousin, just to bait the rumor mill and see how many lies the blogs would invent in 24 hours. Now, if that sentence alone does not tell you exactly what kind of mood Cardi B is in, nothing will. Because that is not a woman who is worried. That is a woman who is bored, entertained, and armed. And the streets are whispering that the people she is aiming at should already be updating their resumes. But let's keep it 100, because context matters. Cardi B was not just clowning for sport. Cardi B was responding to a very specific enemy. She did not name the person on camera. She did not have to. Because within seconds of her going live, the entire internet had already identified the exact hater she was subbing. And when Cardi B started painting the picture, it got dark. She described a person nearing 40, publicly miserable, chronically online, romantically attached to somebody so young that Cardi B pointed out, and I have to quote this because it is surgical, that when this person was 15 years old, their current partner had literally just been born. Cardi B said that partner has openly, on camera, told this hater to their face that what they do for a living is messy, is not positive, and does not lead anywhere. Grow up. Those were the words used against the villain of this story, and Cardi B just quoted them right back into the camera. Aimed at the artery, not the arm. And then Cardi B delivered the visual that broke Twitter. She said this hater, this grown, damn near 40 adult, stood up on a chair, in public, and twerked. Not because of a promotion. Not because of a personal win. Not because a loved one succeeded. But because of one unverified rumor about Cardi B that the hater desperately wanted to be true. Cardi B looked into her phone and said, and I want you to feel this, that a person only celebrates like that when they secretly want you homeless. When they want you canceled. When they want you erased. And Cardi B said out loud what a million people were thinking. That is not fandom. That is not commentary. That is a demonic prayer, said in public, with dance moves. Trust me, the smoke is coming. Because here is the pivot that Cardi B pulled next, and it is the kind of pivot that only Cardi B can pull. She did not cry. She did not swing. She did not go on defense. Cardi B pulled out the receipts. Cardi B started listing assets. And the internet stopped breathing. Cardi B casually announced, mid-live, that she is not buying one car. Cardi B is buying 2. One sports car for the fun of it, Because the Ferrari truck she already owns apparently is not enough for the mood she is in, and one, her words, brand new mommy car, because Cardi B has 4 children now and needs the space for the school runs. 2 cars, bought in the same phone call, during a live stream, while casually eating breakfast at whatever hour a Benadryl nap ends. That is not flexing. That is receipts. But Cardi B did not stop there. Cardi B walked the internet through her entire real estate portfolio because somebody in her chat had made the mistake of typing that she is renting an apartment. And baby, that person picked the wrong day. Cardi B told the internet, calmly, that she owns her house in New Jersey outright, that she owns her house in Atlanta outright, that she also owns $500,000 worth of investment properties in Atlanta on top of that. That 2 years ago, quietly, without a single announcement, she bought a penthouse in the capital of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. And that the apartment people were mocking is her recording studio, her escape hatch, her personal Manhattan bunker. The kind of place, as Cardi B put it, that Carrie Bradshaw kept even after she married Mr. Big. Anyway, keep up, because the flex kept escalating. Cardi B openly said she is now trying to decide between 2 more purchases, a brownstone in Harlem, which she has dreamed about since she was a little girl growing up in the Bronx, or a full apartment in Manhattan, at roughly $5 million, with a $30,000 a month mortgage plus $25,000 a month in amenity fees. Cardi B ran the math live on camera. She said 50 grand a month is, quote, not worth it. And she said Brooklyn brownstones are not it either because she refuses to spend the rest of her life stuck on the Brooklyn Bridge. That is not a woman who is renting. That is a woman who is auditioning zip codes. And this is where the story turns cinematic. Because in the middle of the flex, Cardi B did something that even her biggest critics have to respect. She stopped. She looked at the camera. And she gave credit. Not to voodoo, not to sacrifices, not to any of the wild industry theories that people love to throw at successful black women, but to Jesus Christ. Cardi B said, plainly, that she is prayed up, that she does not stalk her enemies, that she does not celebrate when they fall, that she does not sit online refreshing pages, waiting for bad news about people she does not like. Cardi B said, and this hit, that she has too much going on in her real life to spend her hours subbing strangers on the internet. And that this quiet, boring, non-obsessive lifestyle is exactly why God keeps piling wins on her plate while her enemies keep piling anxiety on theirs. Cracked open the vault. And baby, this is where the internet lost the plot completely. Because for years, the same message boards, the same podcast rooms, the same anonymous burner accounts have been circulating the same tired theory about Cardi B, that her wins are not her wins, that her ascent was rigged, that somewhere behind the scenes there is a puppet master pulling strings. Cardi B, without raising her voice, without even breaking eye contact with the camera, dismantled that entire industry the way a mechanic dismantles a broken engine. She said, and this landed like a closing argument, that if any of those theories were true, if any of that voodoo, sacrifice, industry plant conspiracy was even remotely accurate, then those same forces would be protecting her right now, not attacking her. She said the very fact that the media machine keeps swinging at her, keeps inventing rumors, keeps building court cases in comment sections, is proof that she is standing outside of that machine and shooting at it from the outside. That is not a woman who bought her spot. That is a woman who took it by force and is still holding it with both hands. Because right after that, Cardi B fired the response shot that the algorithm has been begging for. She said her album is still charting a full year after release. She said her tour was a success. She said tour deals for Europe are already sitting on her desk, but the numbers need to come up before she says yes. She said her kids are healthy, blessed, smart, and beautiful. She said she is vacationing. She said her August is stacked back to back with obligations, and she is annoyed her team packed it so tight, because her children go back to school in September. But she said, and this is the meta loop that has fan pages salivating, that if August does not go smooth, September does not go smooth either. And Cardi B has already promised the internet that September holds a surprise. A drop. A move. Something. She refused to name it. She only smiled and said, quote, all this drama might be good for that surprise. She is using it. Every word of it. Every twerk on every chair. Every fake rumor. Every screenshot. Cardi B is folding all of it into whatever September rollout is about to hit. kerosene on an already lit house. And that, right there, is the moment the story stops being about a hater on a chair and starts being about the culture at large. Because Cardi B did something on that live stream that most public figures never do. She refused to be single for the internet's entertainment. She flat out said she will not be alone for the rest of her life just because strangers on Twitter want her focused. Cardi B pointed out that she was single her entire tour. No dating, no entertaining, no distractions. And the moment she slipped up and reached back out to somebody in her past, she left immediately and started actually living her life. Going outside, vacationing, drinking, chilling, enjoying her friends. And she made it clear, once and for all, that entertainment is not optional. Entertainment, she said, is needed. Now, the streets are whispering that this is the exact sentence that lit the current fire. Because when Cardi B is out, Cardi B is Cardi B. She cannot walk into a club and just meet a random guy. She has to be exclusive. She does not even like giving her number out. She said, and I quote her energy, that she hates when a man feels like he had the honor of receiving her contact. Cardi B is picky. Cardi B is guarded. Cardi B stays with people for long stretches because it takes her forever to actually like somebody in the first place. And that is why every man who has entered her life has come attached to some kind of unstable ex. Grown folks in the room are saying this is the part of the live stream that hurt the most. Because Cardi B rewound the clock. She went all the way back to age 20. She talked about a boyfriend she had at 20 who was dating her words, crazy skinny white girl who was so obsessed that she called Cardi B's house phone, her cell phone, and eventually showed up at her job. Cardi B said her stripper friends at the time, not Kia and Sween, the others, would have flattened this girl on sight, and Cardi B literally begged her to leave because she did not want the girl getting hurt. She said the same script replayed with the scammer she dated for 3 years, whose baby mother was. And this is the exact wording. Even crazier, insanely so. She said if you were around what she calls the Tommy era, if you remember her from 2013 and 2014, you know that baby mother was on another planet too. Cardi B stared into the camera and said, and I need everybody in the back to hear this, that unless a man was, quote, born the day before yesterday and never dated anyone in his life, this pattern is coming with the territory. Cardi B said there is something about her, she does not know what, that ruffles other women's feathers in a way she cannot explain and has stopped apologizing for. If the whispers hold water, this is the exact monologue that a certain grown woman on a chair took personally, because Cardi B was not naming names, and yet every subtweet in the timeline suddenly stopped moving. Either lane leads to a car crash. Because here is where the story hits the climax. Cardi B, without warning, without a producer, without a PR team standing off camera, delivered what may be the most important line of the entire live stream. She said, calmly, sit down and put your seatbelt on, because vacation is almost over. She said the September pack is looking full. She said she has projects lined up, moves lined up, and shots lined up. She said life is doing good. And then she said the part that hater did not want to hear. That Cardi B is not going to be a granny. Cardi B is going to have her fun, her young suitors, her nights out, her exclusive dates, her private jets, her Ferrari truck, her sports car, her mommy car, her brownstone dream, her Manhattan escape, her Dominican penthouse, her Atlanta portfolio, her Jersey house, all of it, simultaneously, because Cardi B, in her own words, has it. Cardi B is not asking permission. Cardi B is reporting. And people close to the situation are already leaking that this is only the first shoe. Because the second shoe, the actual September surprise, is being kept behind a locked door in a studio Cardi B alone can access. Insiders in that camp are saying it is not one project. It is a package. Music, visuals, a statement, a moment that will rearrange the conversation the same way her debut album did in 2018. And if the whispers hold water, Cardi B has been feeding every insult, every fake headline, and every chair dance into it as literal creative fuel. Now, here is the part that the internet keeps getting wrong. Cardi B did not blame women. Cardi B did not attack her fan base. Cardi B did not shut anybody down for defending her. Cardi B specifically said, and this is important, that she loves when her fans push back on the lies, because she has seen firsthand what happens when one small, unverified rumor is left alone to grow. She said the blogs pick it up, The haters pile on. The chair dancers stand up. And within 12 hours, a story that started as nothing becomes a full-blown industry event. Cardi B said the defense is not about ego. The defense is about oxygen. Cardi B needs her fans to keep breathing air into the truth, because the Life Factory is running 24 hours a day, and she is only one woman with 4 kids, a tour to negotiate, 2 cars to buy, and a brownstone to visit. And that is the sentence that reframes everything. Because Cardi B is not asking for pity. Cardi B is not asking for peace. Cardi B is asking for accuracy. And in a media environment where a rumor moves faster than a fact, accuracy is the most expensive commodity in the room. Aimed at the artery, not the arm. Now, I know the question everybody in the comments is about to type, so let me address it head on. Should Cardi B keep responding to every hater by live stream, dropping receipts in real time, and letting the internet watch the mask slip off in front of the whole world? Or should Cardi B log off, stay silent, cook the September project in peace, and let the music do all of the talking on release day? People are split down the middle. Half of the timeline is screaming that Cardi B needs to stay quiet because she is Cardi B and the numbers speak for themselves. The other half is screaming that Cardi B has to keep talking because silence in 2026 is confused for guilt. Either lane leads to a car crash. But knowing Cardi B, knowing the woman who literally said she is going to use every ounce of this drama as fuel, we already know which lane she picked. Cardi B does not go quiet. Cardi B goes public. Cardi B goes live. Cardi B goes on record. And Cardi B walks away with more receipts than she started with. Meanwhile, the woman on the chair, the hater whose name Cardi B refused to say on camera, is now stuck watching every screenshot of every asset get pinned to every fan page on every platform. She is watching the Jersey house get quote tweeted. She is watching the Atlanta portfolio get retweeted. She is watching the Santo Domingo penthouse trend. She is watching the Harlem brownstone become a running joke. And she is watching Cardi B smile through all of it with the calm of a woman who prayed for exactly this ending. That is not karma. That is what Cardi B keeps calling it. God, moving on time. Sources close to Cardi B's inner circle are also whispering something else, and I want to leave it right here because I think it matters. They are saying that the September surprise is only step 1 of a 3-part rollout that runs through the end of the year. That the tour negotiations are not just for Europe. That the brand deals sitting on her desk are the kind of numbers that flip generational wealth into dynastic wealth. And that Cardi B, quietly, without saying it out loud on camera, has already made a decision about the brownstone. Grown folks in the room are betting on Harlem. If the whispers hold water, that little girl from the Bronx is about to sign a deed on a piece of real Harlem history before the leaves change. Now, let me pull the camera back for a second, because the bigger picture on Cardi B right now is genuinely historic, and the chair dancers on the timeline are missing it on purpose. Cardi B is the only female rapper in the modern era to have her debut album still charting a full year after release, still selling, still streaming, still generating brand deal conversation. Cardi B is the only artist on her level who came home from a fully sold-out tour and immediately started fielding European negotiations without a single label executive in the room to press the calculator. Cardi B is one of the very few names in music who, at this exact moment, can announce 2 car purchases on a live stream and have 3 separate dealerships publicly compete for the sale and the replies. That is the reality of where Cardi B sits in 2026. And the reality of where she sits is exactly why the woman on the chair could not stop dancing. Because envy, at that decibel, is really just admiration that got twisted on its way to the mouth. So here is where I leave you tonight. Cardi B woke up 40 minutes before hitting the live button, fought a headache from 13 mosquito bites, floated on 2 Benadryls, opened her mouth, and casually reset the entire conversation. She named no villains. She named no exes. She only named receipts. And she left the internet with the exact sentence that is going to sit at the top of the timeline for the next 30 days. Vacation is almost over. Buckle up. Take it to the bank, because Cardi B is not done. Cardi B is barely warming up. And when September opens its mouth, the same people who spent August dancing on chairs are going to spend the fall explaining themselves to strangers online. That is not a prediction. That is the pattern. Cardi B has been running the same play since she was 20 years old, and it has never once failed her. So the question I want to leave with you, because I already know the comment section is loaded, is this. Is Cardi B playing the smartest hand in the industry right now by weaponizing her own drama into a marketing engine? Or is she showing her cards a full month before the September surprise even drops? Drop your answer in the comments. Do not hold back. And when you are done, check out the next video on this page. Because trust me, the story does not end here. The story is just cracking open. And Cardi B, whether the timeline is ready or not, is walking straight into the fire with a Ferrari truck, a sports car, a mommy car, a brownstone, and a smile. Vacation is almost over. See you in September.